Hello and welcome back to my colouring quest. Thank you for joining me once again in watching my fourth part of my colouring pages, and this is my last cube from my Calyx shelf, and it is my Colour in Heaven collection. I do have a lot of the Colour in Heaven issues, so this is going to be a longer video, just a fair warning. And I actually realised I have quite a few of them that I haven't actually coloured in yet. I have 17 without a completed page in, so doing these videos with my colouring book collection has helped me to sort them out, and I will now be focusing on a few of those to complete whips or start pages in those. And yeah, so good things can come from sorting out your colouring books and going through them. And there were actually a couple of books that I have no longer got, as I believe I won't be colouring in them at all, but they can be of use to somebody else, so yeah, that's good as well. So let's get started with this annual 2019, which contains images from their issues from 2019. Each issue has about 4 illustrations within this book. I believe they just pick like the best sort of compilation they can. And they've had this one, I think this was like one of the first Colour in Heavens I got. The first one was actually the Dark Fantasy by Ennis Guerrero, and that's basically where my colouring journey started, so I'll be showing you that in a moment. But first of all is this image, which was originally in the anime special by Desti at Collateral Damage Studios, and I really enjoyed this one. It has a watercolour in the background, but I used very minimal amount of water with these books. The less water you can use, the better, and I also recommend not using very heavy pressure when using pencils, because it is easier to leave indentations. So layering is best. But I just love how this toast came out and the little bunny. But yeah, colour and pencils on her, and after the watercolour was on the flowers, I went in with a white and a pink to get this subtle cherry blossom effect. And that was also the first one I coloured in here. And then I have this one, which was very challenging. My first real sort of serious attempt at trying to do a galaxy in a background, and oh my gosh, I love it. Like, I'm really proud of this page, and the fact that I achieved it on this paper says a lot. Like, you can, and only her face and skin has an alcohol marker base, the rest is just pencil. Yeah, I like doing the anime style colourings, although I don't always do them in the anime style. And then I have this page, which was originally from the Misfit special by White Stag, and this was a simple challenge on the Friends of Colour in Heaven Facebook group. They set some challenges, I think it's every month, and this one was to just simply add a solid block of colour and be done, no shading allowed. And I chose this page. I thought it was suitable because it's already a simple picture, but it's very hard for me not to add shading. Very, very hard, because I would add it on her skin, her dress. It's like, but yeah, I think it turned out great for the simple challenge, and that was just using alcohol markers. And then I have this page. Oh, this might have been the first one I coloured in this book actually. This is from originally the Fairy Tales special by Hannah Lynn, and this is the Tinkerbell page. Well, I made her look like Tinkerbell. I don't know if she was supposed to be or not. But yeah, and I have the Mod Podge sorry about that, extreme glitter on her wings and the sparkles in the background, and then yeah, watercolour in the background. It has gone through the page a little bit, but yeah, that's no problem because they are one-sided, and it has crinkled the page slightly, but again, I'm happy with the result. And yeah, I think that might be the last one in this that I've coloured. Yep. I do miss that now they don't have an illustration on the back cover, because some of my books I have actually coloured the front or the back, because I actually want to be able to complete the whole book front to back. Whether that will actually happen, that's a goal for like years and years, I think. Next I have the Dark Fantasy Special by Ennis Guerrero, and as I just mentioned a moment ago, this is the first Colour in Heaven I ever bought, and yeah, along with the Kirby Roseanne's books, this was my first adult colouring book. I saw it when I was walking down the magazine aisle in Asda, and yeah, I just loved looking through it. And this page is the first one I ever coloured. There are definitely things I would do differently now, looking back on it, but at the time I was really proud of this. Sorry, I just had to have a sip of my drink. And in the background is soft pastels. I don't really like soft pastels much. I never quite achieve what I'm going for. I find it easier using paint or pencils. And then I have used an alcohol marker base, I believe, on the whole illustration, yeah. And yeah, I've just gone in with pencil on the top in certain places, but most of it I can see I've just used the marker and not done anything else. It's mostly on the girl and these that I've used other things. Right, next. Oh, this is what I meant by using a light pressure. I almost went through the paper when I was colouring her face. Luckily I didn't, but in certain light it's okay, and others you can just see how crinkled it is, but I love how I've coloured it despite that. And this girl, I actually decided to colour her as a Final Fantasy character from Final Fantasy IX called Vivi. Like using his colours for the hat and the dress, and then I added this grassy background to remind me of when playing that game you often have to run through long grass to fight monsters. And yeah, I like how that turned out. I believe that is a marker base again, and then pencils. And next I have this Black Crystal Witch, which I didn't do the crystals black at all. I like having the names here, but also it's my colouring book. I don't want to be colouring everything the same as the original. It's just there for inspiration if needed. And I love it. I love the green of her dress, and I did struggle with what colours to do the crystals. But like I said, I didn't really want to do them black. That is alcohol marker on the black background and the skin. I said black background, but it's actually a very dark green. And next, do I have any more? I should have one more, which is this one. my Arial page, which I absolutely love. This was one of the first times that I used acrylic paint in a background, which is why it's probably just a solid block of colour, but I thought that colour went pretty well with the rest of the illustration. And yeah, I believe that's just pencil on this one, yeah. And even though this is called Dark Fantasy Special, there is no reason why I have to colour every page in that style. And I have to say, this is still one of my favourite Colour in Heaven books. And yeah, so that's Dark Fantasy Special by Enis Guerrero. Next up I have Gothic Fantasy, also by Enis Guerrero, and this one is issue 88. And I believe, do I just have the one coloured in here? I think so. And it is this page, which again, I absolutely love how this turned out, even though again I did press a bit hard in certain places, like on her mouth, because I struggled with the detail on the black lipstick. But I absolutely love this fox. I took my time with that fur and picking out the colours. And this is a metallic paint on the moon. And yeah, I decided to go a bit out of character for me and do half blue, half pink skin. I don't even know what made me do that, but I actually love how it looks. Yeah, again, I kind of like treasure these illustrations. That's why not many of them are coloured. Like, I want to take my time because Enis Guerrero's illustrations are always amazing, even just to look at. Next I have the Gothic Alchemy Special by Alchemy England 1977, and I have to say, when I first picked up this issue, I was both amazed and terrified. Like, I didn't know if I would be able to colour over this like very well, but it turns out that it's not as hard as it looks. It's still difficult, don't get me wrong, and this was the first one I coloured. And yeah, this is just pencils, and what you intend to do is where the dark shadows are is where you would add your shadows, obviously, like your darker shades, and then as the grayscale is lighter, that's when you transition and blend out to your lighter tones. So here I used the darker red and gone into the lighter red, and so on. So you just sort of use the dark grayscale as a roadmap of where the shadows should be. I have one more coloured in here, which is this page, which I absolutely love. It took me forever, especially this background, because it wasn't as visible on the page as that, and I had to sort of bring out what I could see. So I don't know exactly if I've brought out the elements as they're supposed to be, like were these rocks or were they something else, and then it's like figuring out which parts were the dragon, which I'm guessing that is a dragon. It looks very dragon-like to me, but the most proud thing I have on this page is this part of her armour. I really love that gold blend, and I cannot for the life of me remember what colours I used. I don't keep a track of colours I used because it stops me from like repeating over and over again the same colours for the same pictures. I don't always want to do that. So that was Gothic Alchemy Special by Alchemy England 1977. next up we have The Creatures of the Night Special by Sarah Richter, and I think I only have one finished in here because I have a whip that's going to take me years. Do I? Yes. Right, I have this illustration that I have completed of this like bat lady, and I kept this simple. This is, I believe, like a soft pastel in the background, some acrylic paint down here, pencils for her, and then just a little bit of metallic silver gel pen on her clothing right there. It was quite a simple one. I love how her skin turned out. Like the shadows, I feel like I got them in the right places. I did use alcohol markers as a base for her skin. And then if you want to see the whip that I'm going to have for years, and there's one reason for this being a whip for years, and it's how I've decided to colour the leaves. Because I've decided to actually go in with detail and add shadow to shadows. But yeah, I love this illustration, which is why I wanted to take my time. Luckily though, I have wrote down what colours I was using for the leaves, else that would have meant if I didn't do that, I probably would never come back to this page because I'd just be sat there thinking, what colour was I using? Did I use that green or that green? What was it? The Polychromos? Was it Castle Arts? So luckily I have wrote down that I've used the Castle Arts pencils. That was Creatures of the Night Special. Next I have the Halloween Special, featuring illustrations from Yana Prosperina, Dawn Davison, Jen Katz and Simona Candini, and then from Yuriko Shiru and Matthew Larson. I believe I only, oh no, I might have two in here. This is one of my all-time favourite finished illustrations. Like, I added the background with the frame and the clouds, and I didn't know if it was going to turn out, but it was quite simple but effective, and I made it so it looks like the girl and the hair have sort of gone through a lot and probably passed away, and then yeah, he's come to guide them, sort of. I can't remember what those are called, and they do have like a purpose or something, but this is the way I saw it. He's sort of guiding them on their way to, well, after. And then this was for a challenge. This one is by Jen Katz, and it was a sectional challenge where you had to section off part of the illustration and only colour that in. And I decided with the space that I wasn't colouring in, I would just colour it grey. And I got these stencils, like were Halloween themed stencils, and just picked random sections of the illustration. And I quite like it. I haven't actually tried this since, but it was quite fun. And then I know I have another one. This was also a challenge on the Friends of Colouring Heaven Facebook page. It was a ballpoint pen challenge, so I only used a black ballpoint pen. It took quite a long time, but also not as long as I thought it was going to when I first started. I love parts of it, and other parts, like the eyes, I'm not really happy with. But yeah, it was a good challenge, that one. I haven't actually done one of those challenges in quite a while. I'll have to have a look what's going on at the moment. And next up we have another Halloween special, and this one includes illustrations by Hannah Lynn, Ennis Guerrero, Sarah Richter and more. And yes, I remember what I've coloured in here now. Where it is though, I'm not sure. I thought it was near the back. Well, I have this one coloured, and this was also a Colour in Heaven challenge, which was to only use grey tones and then one colour to make it glow. And I chose pink, and this illustration was by, oh my gosh, Rosary Sowamamama. I'll just hold that up because I've probably butchered that name, I apologise. And then I thought I had another page coloured in here. Obviously not, it must be in a different book. So that was a Halloween special, that was issue 80. Now I have Bad Girls Halloween special, which contains illustrations by Yuriko Shiru, Mayumi Ogihara, Christopher Laval and more. I do apologise if I'm saying any of these names wrong. It's not what I'm good at. And I have coloured this witch, which is by Anna Marine, the Moon Witch, and I kept this one really simple, just colouring her and not having a background. Added a bit of shiny on her necklace and over here. Yeah, I think that's all I've done in that one. Yep, Bad Girls Halloween special. Now I have the Witch's Compendium, and I have coloured this page. This is originally from Magic and Mythology by Lindsay Archer, and I've coloured her with blue tones, even adding blue to her skin as an undertone. And I like the shading of her skin on this page, and I've never really coloured feet before, and so I was surprised that they actually look like feet after I've coloured them. But yeah, I had fun colouring that and keeping it simple. I think that's the only one in that, because I haven't had this one that long. Next I have Elves Behaving Badly, and this is 48 exclusive designs by, I don't know who illustrated this, but it's of Alfie and ELV Making Mischief. Yeah, Elf on a Shelf. And I got this book because at the time my niece loves the Elf on a Shelf, and I got her a copy and myself a copy, and then we decided to colour in it together. And I've only done the one page, keeping it simple with just alcohol markers of the elves making snow angels in flour. So that was fun and simple, and yeah, it's nice to colour with my niece. And that's all I've done in here, except for that on the front cover, which I don't know why I didn't finish it, as I was only using alcohol markers. Next up is one of my favourite of the Colour in Heaven magazines, and that is the Chibi Collection by Jash Lee. And I'll start by showing you the back cover, because I have coloured this one and made it very sparkly by adding I believe it was Glamour Dust paint on top of alcohol marker, and then just pencils for the illustration, and I love it. Like, doing this on the back made me want to colour in this book more, and I have done a few in here. I have done this Chibi Witch, which I think turned out great. Kept the background quite simple by just like following the outline, just using an alcohol marker. I thought having the black in the background made the illustration colouring pop out a bit more and just look like it belonged. And I have the Valkyrie Witch, Valkyrie Chibi. I do that a lot, saying the wrong things while doing these videos. I've had to like correct myself on the videos for some of them, like saying that the daffodils were daisy. No, see, that's even wrong. That the daffodils were sunflowers. I couldn't believe it when I rewatched that video before posting it, and I was like, did I just say sunflowers? Oh dear. But yes, so this is Valkyrie Chibi, and other than her skin, which has alcohol marker base on it, I believe the rest of it is just coloured pencils. Again, I just love how these turn out after they're coloured. You don't really have to do anything with the backgrounds if you don't want to. Then I have here it is, the Jester Chibi, and he is just simply popping off the page in my opinion. Yeah, I used some glitter gel pens on the confetti and kept him like, I believe that's sort of basic, right? Red and black, just switched them over as I went up his clothing. Yeah, I thought he suited two different colour eyes as well. And then I have the Ice Princess Chibi, which took me quite a long time to do these crystals. Having to go over all the black edges with the white Posca pen took a while. But yeah, again, I like the colour choices, because to start with I was going to do her with the icy blue dress, but quickly had to change my mind, thinking about then what would I colour the ice in, because it'd just look all the same. Yeah, and that is all I've coloured in here. Oh, I let my niece colour this in because I had done it on the back. So that was Chibi. Sorry, I just take some of my drink. Next, I have the Women of the World, which contains designs by Andy Davies and Kissy Art. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as well. And I love this book. I have Alaska, which is, I think it's purely alcohol marker base. I thought it was just pencil, alcohol marker base and pencils on top. I was super proud of how this fair turned out, because like a lot of people I struggle with fair, but if I try like really hard I can get somewhere at least. And yeah, I love her skin tone. It's just simple but effective, and having these shapes, I just like that idea in illustrations to colour. It kind of makes it easier to colour. And then, where is she? I absolutely love this page. It's one of my favourites that I've ever coloured. And this is Ireland by Kissy Art. And yeah, I added freckles on an illustration for like the first time. For the horse, I did have to look up a reference to what a horse would look like from that angle. And then I went in with black tones and blue and also a light beigey brown colour. And then in the background I added this rectangle with metallic paint just to... I thought the background for this needed something. I'm also very proud of these butterflies. I do wish I had done the flowers a bit better, but the rest of the illustration for me sort of makes up for that. So that was Women of the World. Next I have the Flower Girls collection, which has illustrations from Mayumi Ogihara and Anastasia Koldariva. And I have coloured this first page. Very golden I went for, and the poppies, I believe they're poppies, right? Anemone Girl. And yeah, I love the way she turned out. I had never tried a skin tone like that before, and I really struggle with colouring multiple flowers. Like, 1 or 2 is fine, but when you get more than 10, it gets very repetitive. So I'm surprised that they've actually turned out this well, but it did take me a long time. In the background I kept it simple with yellows, but sort of gradiating upwards with a little sort of bubble effect. I'm not sure if I've coloured any more in this. Like I said, flowers take a lot with me to colour, but I had to buy this book because of the illustrators inside it. I love to see their work. Next I have Bohemian Beauties, and this is by Dorian Addict, aka T. Fallon. And I have coloured one in this book because although this is an older issue, I never got it until recently. And this, I believe this was a challenge as well, which was to use greys, 1 pink and 1 green. So you could use as many shades of grey as you wanted, but you were only allowed 1 pink and 1 green. So I kept the green minimal by just putting it in her eyes and felt like her hair suited for the pink tone. And for the dark parts I added some of the grey underneath. And that is it in that book. Some beautiful illustrations in here, but also very different. They have a very unique style, I think, and like these third eye illustrations kind of put me off getting this book to start with, but now I'm just like, why? Not all of the illustrations have them. So that is Bohemian Beauties. Next up I have Sorcerers and Sorceresses, designs by Nelik Shoemaker. And I have one finished in here. These designs are amazing, but very detailed. I might have gone past, oh no, here it is. And it is nice that this issue has some male illustrations inside, as not many colouring books actually do. They're very female orientated, which isn't a bad thing, but I would like to see more men. Because if you're a man, you're going to want to colour a man as well, right? and I have used alcohol marker base, which I often do in these books because then you don't need to use as much pressure or layers with your pencils, which is great for this type of paper. But yeah, I like how he turned out. Had to look up references of how to colour mussels because I had never done that before. Yeah, very difficult. So that was sorcerers and sorceresses. Next I have World of Princesses Special, designs by Fabiana Treyer. I'm probably saying that wrong because I think it's got the accent on it. On the front cover I was testing out my alcohol markers for using as skin tone bases. I like all of them, but I think that one I've used the most. I don't actually own these alcohol markers anymore because they ran out after using them so much. I also really love this one. But as you go on top with coloured pencil, you won't even see this. It's just like a base to guide me on what other colours to use. I started that one. This was a challenge from YouTube. I can't remember who it was that actually hosted it. Sorry about that if anybody knows. And it was a fire and ice challenge, so one side only using blues and one side only using reds. And I really like how that turned out. And I added the border and put the sky in the background. But yeah, that was using the Chameleon pencils for the blue side and the Castle Art pencils on the red side, I believe. And then I have this page, which was a Colour in Heaven challenge to add fireworks to a page. And I came up with this story in my head when colouring that these two were afraid of fireworks and took comfort in each other while they were going ahead with the fireworks show. Because it seems like she is sort of comforting him and he's sort of comforting her. That's the way I saw it. I think that's all in this book. But yeah, beautiful designs in this book. Next I have Fantasy Princesses Special by Jash Lee. And as you can see, I started by colouring the front cover on this one, and this was when I first got the Chameleon pencil, so this is what I've used on there, but it has an alcohol marker base. And yeah, I really am proud of this front cover. But this one doesn't have a back cover, so I couldn't colour that. And in here I have started that one. I start with the skin quite a lot. And I have coloured this page. And I went against normal by doing like red and orange flames and decided I would go a bit more of like an electrical flame. Like you can get flames that are blue. And so I just sort of went with that and added different colours and put it into her skin tone, which I thought ended up looking quite nice. That's all I've coloured in that. Fantasy Princesses Special. Sorry, my throat's a bit dry tonight. Next I have the Fairy Special by Yana Prosperina. And I think I've coloured one in here. Oh, I've started her. I believe it's at the back. Yes. And this was another Colour in Heaven challenge, and I think it was a colour palette challenge where it was like 5 colours and you could only use those 5 colours. So I was surprised that's why the coloured pages in the books aren't white, and I had to use the colours like I did in the wings and her skin, because I believe there was like 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 blue sort of situation. I can't remember the exact colours. Yeah, and I came up with that, which surprised me. So that was a fairy special. Next I have the dragon special. I said in a previous video that I owned this along with the Dragonology colouring book by Dr. Ernest Drake. So it has a lot of the same illustrations in, but then it has the like area that each sort of dragons can come from. And I did the Southeast Australia marsupial dragon, the first page, and I really like it. I added gold gel pen to the background and around the ring, along with the writing, and it is an alcohol marker base. Actually, I'm not sure if this whole thing is just alcohol markers. Oh, I also added the gel pen in his eye. I think this whole page might just be gel pen and alcohol marker, but that's the only one I've coloured in here, because having both books, yeah, it's not ideal, but I bought one and then found out that the next Colour in Heaven was going to be the dragons, and I simply bought it, and the Dragonology was like gonna be on its way to be delivered, and I was like, oh no. But yeah, it's okay. Next up I have the Fairy Stories special, and I haven't coloured anything inside this book, but I have coloured the back cover with some soft pastel. Yeah, sometimes it still comes off and sometimes it doesn't. I have sprayed it, but sometimes it doesn't want to work. And then grey tones of alcohol markers on the illustration. And yes, this is green, but it's a green grey, so I counted that as just a grey tone. It was simple, and I do have the option of colouring that page again, as it's inside the book. So that was Fairy Stories by Fabiana Attanasio. I believe I'm about halfway through. Oh dear, this is going to be a long one. Next up we have Nouveau Fairies special by Herb Leonard. And he has an amazing style as well. I have coloured this page, which was also a Colour in Heaven challenge, to pick a colour for each letter of your name. So I have quite a long name, which came in handy, as some people had like their name was Anne or like 3-letter names, and oh my gosh, they must have struggled. But yes, I thought I did an okay job on this one for only having a limited amount of colours, and obviously I didn't have a black or a white, so yeah, shading and highlights had to be done by the darkest colour available, which was the sepia. I never know if I'm saying that right. Is it sepia or sepia? Or is it something completely different? And that's all I have done in here, but I have started another page, which is this Foxglove Fae. And I like how that is, but now that I've only got the flowers left, it's going to be a struggle because there are quite a lot on there. Like once I get going, I'd have to finish them. And also the butterflies repeat, so I might have to think of a way to make that a quick, probably alcohol markers on those butterflies. But yeah, that's Nouveau Fairies. Next up is the Steampunk Special, and I think I have 2 coloured in here. That's this different, just paper. This first one is by Dawn Davidson, and I kept that simple. I'm not sure if that was a challenge or not, or if I just coloured her that way. That might have been a challenge. But I kept it simple, didn't go in with a background. It is simply just pencils. And then I have one more at the back of this. This is the one I thought was inside the other book. And this one is by Matt Davidson. And this took a long time for me to finish. Like it was a whip for a while and then I came back for it. And yeah, very detailed page. It was difficult, but I loved doing it. And was that alcohol marker? No alcohol marker on that one. So that was pencil work, which is why it took so long. But super proud of it. I love how I've created the green glow within the room. And yeah, I do love that page. And the illustrations in this book, again, are absolutely amazing. That was a Steampunk Special by Dawn and Matt Davidson. Next I have a Colourful Adventure Storybook Special by Josh Lee, and I have coloured one page in here, which is this page, and this special is actually a bit special because it's done as a storybook which tells the story of this girl on an adventure. And because it is of the same girl, at the back of this one I have actually used this helpful colour chart to write down what colours I've used for her. I might slightly vary it later on, but yeah, I want to be able to get a similar colour for her skin throughout the whole book when I colour her. So that's a Colourful Adventure Storybook Special by Josh Lee. Josh Lee's illustrations are some of my favourite when it comes to Colour in Heaven. I will automatically just buy it. Next is Fantasy Figures Special, and that includes illustrations by Maud Lamoine. And I think I've only got one in here. Yes. I have this girl with the wolf, and in this background I have put metallic paint over that as it had some shapes in there which I wasn't sure what they were, and then I painted in some rocks to make it look like they were standing on something, because they were sort of, I believe that it was like in sort of mid-air, like I didn't really know what was going on, so I got the paint out. And the rest of it's pencils. That purple in the background is also acrylic paint. Remember the white little sparkles is my Posca pen. So yeah, again, beautiful illustrations. It's just not enough time in the day to colour everything that I own. But I have to buy them because you know that with Colour in Heaven magazines, once they sell out you can no longer buy them. So if there is like at least 5 designs within the book that I want to colour, then I tend to buy it while I can. Next I have Fairytopia Special with illustrations by Mystic Art Mirrors. I sometimes forget that I actually own this book, but I do. And I have coloured this one, and it's very shiny in the background, and on her wings I have used Mod Podge on her wings and her eyes, coloured pencils on her, and then the shiny stuff in the background is red, white and blue like foil that I have stuck on in a sort of dust, fairy dust sort of way. Well, I tried to. Not a huge fan of the red, white and blue foil. It comes in the same pot, and this is the only time I think that I've actually used it, but it might look better like on something else where it's not like that. Who knows? Yeah, I love her designs. I don't know why, I just forget that I own this one. So that's a Fairytopia Special. Next is the Starry Night Special by Wei Shan Ong. And I've coloured again one inside here. And it is this page. I used yellow to make a glow all over this page. And I remember being at my brother's house looking after his cats when I was colouring this, and the cat just kept trying to sit on the page, and I was like, oh, so this is how people with cats are struggling. Because I often see people post about how their cats are not allowing them to colour, so it was like, oh yeah, I get it now. But yeah, I love how her skin turned out. There's a lot of layers went into this, but yeah, it came out really nice. And again, beautiful illustrations. And like you can see in the background, it started off as black, but you can add a hint of colour on top of the black. It won't come up as bright as if it was on white paper, but you can change it from not being purely black. That was the Starry Night Special. Next I have the Fledgling Fairies Special, featuring illustrations by Christine Karen. And I have finished this one. I absolutely love the colour choices I made on this. Very, very happy and warm. Yeah, and because these illustrations can be slightly grayscaled, it does help in guiding where to put the shading. And when you've never coloured an illustration by a certain artist, starting out with a grayscale one can help you later on with the non-grayscale ones, because you get used to, oh, that they put their shadows there, so it would be okay if I put it there, it will look okay when it's finished, sort of thing. It just helps. But sometimes you do just go, I'm going to put it there, whether it looks good or not, I'm going to try and make it work. So that was a Fledglings Fairy Special. Next up I have the Elements Special by Anne Stokes, and I have done the first page, which is the air element, and it has a dragon on it. And I have used coloured pencils, and I have, it looks like I've used something silver. I know what it was. This circular disc in the background, I did it in a silver thing, like I don't know if it was the foil silver that I have, but it was something silver and it looked really, really bad. And the only way I could cover it up was if I went on top with black acrylic paint. You can still see a little bit of the silver shining through in places, and that's okay, but as a whole silver circle, it didn't do anything for the page at all. And then I've used gel pen on the air and the infinity symbol up there. And that's all I have coloured in Elements. Next up I have the Sea Life collection, which has illustrations from quite a few people: Rita Berman, Tim Jeffs, Ruby Charms and more. And I have coloured this page. I wanted something simple to colour at this point in time, and I've just done I'm Lost at Sea, Don't Bother Me by Honey Debney, which is a member of the Colour in Heaven team, I believe. And I've used alcohol markers and then pencils on top just to keep it simple. Yeah, this has an amazing variety of illustrations in this collection. I'm not sure if this one's still available to buy, as a lot of Colour in Heaven actually sell out, and like I said before, once they sell out, it's very rare that you're going to be able to buy them again, unless it's off an independent seller that are selling their own copy. Next up I have the Hatsune Miku collection, and yeah, I love this one. Again, it's a anime style illustration book and I love to colour the style. I've started with the back cover, which I put a full layer of Mod Podge Extreme glitter over the whole thing after I was done, to help seal it in so the colour won't fade. And yeah, I loved every minute of colouring that. It has an alcohol marker base and then pencil shading. And I have coloured this is like one of my all-time favourite coloured pages. It's this one. Absolutely super duper proud of this one. And yeah, I actually looked up a reference image for the completed artwork for this page to help me with where to put the shadows, because it's a very busy page and I really loved it. It's like my favourite illustration in the whole book, and I don't know why I did it so early on, but I'm super proud of it. I chose different colours than the original, but in places like the hair it's a very similar colour because it's the character, and I wanted at least one page to have sort of official colours. But I think the bunny is adorable. It did take me a very long time. Yeah, it's alcohol marker base with coloured pencils. And then I have this page, which is half me. Sorry. And then half my niece. She got a bit bored and I only used alcohol markers because this was a point in time where if she saw my detailed side, she probably wouldn't have wanted to colour her side, thinking that she can't do it that well, which in my opinion is ridiculous. Because look at it, she's fine. And she does know that when she colours it, it looks fine when it's done. It's just like when she starts out seeing something that I've done, and obviously I'm a lot older and I have more practice, but it discourages her sometimes. Now she's a lot better and she'll just colour it. This was, I believe, a couple of years ago. At least a year ago. I can't remember when this book came out, but it wasn't that long after. And then I have done this page with lots of sparkle glitter on the rings. I kept it quite simple. This is acrylic paint and glamour dust, yes. And then this is alcohol marker and pencil. As you can see here on this side, I let my niece at this one. It's like sometimes she'll be at my house and she'll be like, I want to colour something, but I want to colour something of yours. So I'm like, if she picks a picture and it's one that I am okay not colouring myself, then it's fine. But with some pictures that she's started, I have said to her I might finish them off and just leave the parts that she's coloured as her own, so it's like a collaboration. And then I also started this one, which all I've done is an alcohol marker base. I started colouring this leg though with pencils, and I don't know what I used, so I'm gonna have to try my best with the rest of that to match what I've used on this, but it's not that much done on it, so I should be okay. Love that book. Right. Next I have the Sarah Kay collection, and I bought this, I don't actually know the character, whereas a lot of people were like, oh, I loved that character as a child. I didn't actually know this character, but I got the book because I wanted a book at the time that I could simply just add colour and be done, and I don't have many books like that at the time. So I coloured this first page just with alcohol markers. I have this page, which is alcohol markers and pencil, and with the little dog in the basket. This was a page that my niece coloured with alcohol markers. See so much improvement from when she started out colouring. She's able to actually stay within most of the lines, although I have told her if you go out of the lines it's not a problem. But I love her colour choices. That's one thing that she's improved on a lot. She's not scared of using whatever colours she wants. And I definitely have one more because it was a challenge. Here. This was a blue challenge on the, I think that was a Colour in Heaven challenge. Use only one colour, and I picked blue. This was very helpful though, because this was slightly grayscaled in the, I believe on these and this. I only had to add my own shadows to the girl and her toys. But yeah, that was fun. Again, this is I got as a simple one, because sometimes you just need to add colour and be done. But I do absolutely love the designs like this one, and this one is my favourite in here. Look at all the kitties. But I don't know why this one doesn't have any grayscale. The other kitties do, but that's fine. Maybe that one's supposed to be a white one. Yeah, that was the Sarah Kay collection. Next up I have the Gods and Gossip. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Gods and Goddesses special by Jashly. And I have coloured this one, the Goddess of Hunting, Artemis. And oh my gosh, I enjoyed colouring this one so much, and I absolutely love the lighting that I created. It's really difficult adding lighting, especially when you're not sure where the lighting is coming from when you start colouring. But on this page I decided to have lighting sort of, the sun is setting behind, but well, somehow she's got it on her leg, I don't know, but it works, so I'm okay with that. And then I have, this one is a whip. Again, this book has male illustrations, which is amazing. And then I have done this, Goddess of Vengeance. And this in the background is that silver black foil that I was talking about in with the dragon with the circle, which looked awful on that page. But on this page I think it looks okay. So this is just alcohol markers and pencils, and I'm happy with being able to create like white hair on this page. I don't think I have any more coloured in here, but the illustrations in this are some of my favourites. There's something about it being enclosed, it just makes illustrations more appealing to me. Like, I don't have to colour the whole page. So that was Gods and Goddesses. We are getting nearer to the end now. I have the Mermaid Special with illustrations by Anastasia Eli Koldareva, and I have coloured 2 in here. I have coloured this one, which I specifically remember I used water-based markers as a base and quite quickly regretted it, as it almost destroyed my paper. I only started using it and then I realised and I stopped. But yeah, they did not like this paper at all. But somehow I managed to salvage this illustration, and absolutely am proud of how this one turned out. But you can see here that it was not right. It was a water-based marker. And then I have done this page, which she has a marker base on her skin, and then pencils are everywhere else, I believe. Yeah, just alcohol marker on her skin. And in the background it is slightly green, very slightly green, but it does not pick it up on camera. I sort of did it darker green and faded it up, but I mean my eyesight can only just pick it up, so I can't really blame the camera. I just wanted something subtle. And that is Mermaid Special. Now next I have another Mermaid Special, but this one has mermaid designs by 10 top colouring artists from around the world, and I have coloured, I've coloured this one, which is just coloured pencil on the illustration, and then in the background I have used acrylic paint mixed with some metallic medium, and then I believe that's the Mod Podge Extreme glitter on top. You can see it sparkle, I'm not sure. I didn't put a heavy coat in of that, just a thin layer. And then I have, oh, I didn't say who it was by. This one is by Dawn Davidson. And then this page is by Mariola Budek. And I went with like a softer colour palette for this, and absolutely am proud of the colour of the shell, because I didn't want to go for a normal sort of colour. I added the blues and pinks, and then with the gold trim around the shell, I thought it added a nice touch. I also added the gold here on her top, and I love doing the icy blue tail. And with the hair I added white Posca over the black and tried to sort of use muted blues and pinks, and then went over it with the white to make it like it's grey, but tinted grey. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. So that was Mermaid Special. Next we have Fantasy Creatures Special from illustrations by Selena Fenwick and Chet Minton, or Shay Minton, I don't know. I have done this page by Selena Fenwick, and I like how her skin turned out. Sometimes I struggle with doing darker skin tones when it's not all the same tone. Like, I'm not sure sometimes what to use as the blush tone and the highlight colour. Yeah, and I love how cute these are, these little guys. And that is alcohol marker base over the whole entire thing with pencil shading on top. And then I have this one, which I both like and dislike. I wish I hadn't have gone over the line work with white over the whole thing, but I'm fine with that. What I really love about this one though is the eyes. The galaxy eyes are my favourite on this. And yeah, she's still cute. And I've used acrylic paint in the background as a quicker result. But again, I'm not really sure I like the edges. I was going for something and it didn't quite work. But that's okay. That's another one complete, isn't it? I enjoyed the process, so it doesn't matter. Next up, I have the Neko Girl Special by Dina Stone. And this is the one my niece has started. I thought she was doing an amazing job, especially at picking out like the colours for the hair. She wanted 2 different colours in her hair, but she's made it work, and then she put that same colour in there, which I thought was really a good idea. Right, do I have any completed at the back? I think it's the front that I've done in this one. So I have completed this girl. I love doing the red hair on this girl, and it's a marker base and then on top with pencils. And then on this page, half is my niece and half is myself. And yeah, I think it's just coloured pencils. Yes, just coloured pencils. And then I said to her that I'm doing my half with a black acrylic background, and she asked me to also do her side. So I was like, okay. And I love how she's coloured this cupcake and the colours in her hair. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm really sticking to sort of, not natural colours because you have to dye your hair pink, but like it's all one colour. Whereas she's like, yep, I'm gonna grab the purple, I'm gonna grab the green. So she's not afraid of letting loose, which is nice. I wish I could do it more often. And again, she's done really good with the skin. Like, you tell her these things, but she doesn't always believe it. And I'm like, when I was your age, I couldn't colour that well. It takes a lot of time. And she's already like, great. Right, next I have the Anime Compendium, which again is a fairly recent purchase. And I have coloured this one, which is also in that Neko Girls Special. And I have used, I think I used, yes, an alcohol marker base over the whole page, and then coloured pencils. I didn't know what to do with the background, so I just did it this greens and blues. I found it funny because my niece goes, oh, you've coloured her like a minion. And I'm like, no, I haven't. And she's like, but it's blue and yellow. And I was like, oh, okay, I can see where you're getting that from, but I didn't intend to. Yeah, I purchased this one. I do own quite a lot of the books that have illustrations in there here, but these ones that are at the front, like this one was a selling point especially. They were from books from before I started collecting Colour in Heaven, but they were already sold out, so I couldn't go back and buy them. Yeah, but then you get to a certain point and you're like, I own all these already. But it doesn't hurt having a second copy of some of these in case I want to come back and try and colour one again. Next up I have the Little Cuties Special by Daria Kakasoi. I'm most definitely probably saying that wrong. I do apologise. And I have coloured this one. This adorable mother and daughter. And I had so much fun. I thought they would suit really bright colours after I had decided on their skin tones. And I do. This orange with this little girl is, in my opinion, adorable. And I tried to make this part of her clothing to be like that, not like a meshy sort of see-through sort of material. So I do have her skin tone under there, but then I have added a lot more pink and white on top of it. But yeah, really happy with this one. Do I have another one in here? I don't think so, no. That's a Little Cuties Special. Next I have the Vintage Costume Special, and as you can see, I have done the front cover. Right. Yes, this, wait, I believe it's alcohol marker base and then coloured pencils. But I got this book and then I just cracked on with it, like one after another. I couldn't stop colouring. And these illustrations are by Jasmine Darnell, and I have also coloured this page with a metallic paint in the background and then coloured pencils. I have coloured this one, it's very shiny, and that is metallic paint on top of black paint, and then coloured pencils for her. And then this one again is just coloured pencils, and I added in the arch window in the background. I thought this page needed something different. Oops, I think that is all that I've done. But for a book that I haven't had too long, I got it when it was released. I don't know if these have dates on them, but it's, yeah, it's not been too long and I've already completed 4 if I include the front cover, which is very good for me because normally I will do one when the book comes out and then I move on to something else. And now I'm happy to say I'm on to the last issue that I have completed pages in, which is the Gothic Beauties Special. And this has 5 top colouring artists within. And I have coloured this one, which I had already coloured in the Gothic Alchemy Special, but that was some years ago, so I wanted to see how I could colour it again. And this one, there are parts, like the main illustration, I really prefer this one, but I don't like how I've done this background. I'm not sure what I was going for. It's like a spooky magic vibe, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I absolutely love the rest of the illustration. I think that's the only one I've coloured in here. But yeah, again, some amazing illustrations. That was a Gothic Beauties special. And like I said, I do have several books by Colour in Heaven that I have only coloured, like started colouring whips in them, or I have not coloured anything at all, so I won't be showing those. Yeah, I think that's it. So that will be the end of my colouring book collection with completed pages. Thank you for watching and joining me on my colouring quest. I'm not sure when the next video will be up or what sort of video it would be, because I still have to figure out what I want to do, but it will probably just be maybe just watching me colour. So until next time, thank you for watching. Bye bye.